The Violence Against Women Act was first passed in 1994. It created the first U.S. federal legislation acknowledging domestic violence and sexual assault as crimes. It also requires the federal government to fund community services to help victims. That law expired in 2018. Congress reauthorized it again last week, and President Biden signed it into law. But there is a boyfriend loophole. Sharice Mitchell is the CEO of the YWCA West Central Michigan. Nice to see you. So glad that you're here.
Thank you, Michelle.
Now, we should say first off that signing this back into law was wonderful.
Absolutely. We want to celebrate that achievement and that acknowledgement, that message to survivors that there are supports through organizations like the YW to support your healing, and that message to abusers that it is still a crime to commit domestic violence and sexual assault.
Yes. So those 4 years in between, you were certainly serving a lot of people still.
Yeah, we continued to 4,000 people a year. So in the span of that lack of reauthorization, 12,000 people continue to be served by the YW, but we are thrilled that that reauthorization finally did happen.
Yes. Explain the boyfriend loophole, though, and what that means.
So it's really important to recognize that access to weapons, particularly guns, is one of those elements that increases the risk of homicide by nearly 500% in domestic violence situations. And that so-called boyfriend loophole says that if you have been convicted of domestic abuse, you cannot have access to a gun. You cannot have a gun. But that's only true if you, as the abusive partner, were married to, lived with, or had a child in common with the victim. Okay. So for those who have been convicted but weren't married to or didn't have children with the victim, they can still have access to guns, and that's a problem.
That's a problem. That's a lot of people.
Yes, that is a lot of people, and that is a threat to not only victims themselves and homicide, but anybody who's responding to that domestic violence call. So first responders, healthcare professionals, law enforcement, if they're responding to a domestic violence call and there's access to a weapon or that abusive partner has a weapon, the threat to them is incredibly increased.
What can we do? What is the YW working to do, and what can we do?
I think just contacting and communicating with legislators at the state and federal level that our work isn't done. There is still work to do in the reauthorization of VAWA, but also in our response to and services and supports to survivors. So continue that message of hope and support and healing, and fix the loophole.
And for the people who do need help right now, there's always the 800 number. You guys are always there. Absolutely.
We are there 24/7 to respond to and support and let victims know that they don't have to suffer alone, that there's hope and healing out there for them.
Yeah. Sharice, great to see you as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah.